I'm Haren. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl.
So my name is Mudassar. I'm Ibrahim's father.
Ibrahim is the eldest, he's 11. Rehan, middle child, he's 8, and Khadija is 4, going to be 5 soon, yeah.
Now when Ibi was born, the first thing I can picture and remember is that he had a white film around his face, and immediately my reaction was, what is that?
Like I will say it was a shock when he was born. I wasn't like, you don't expect, like, everyone's excited, you're having your first baby, like you get everything ready, and then when the time comes and then like he came out and the doctors just took him, and it was like, oh, like I think that's where the shock was. So I didn't get no skin to skin with him. It was just a quick glimpse, and that was it, he was gone. And there was a doctor that came in, and he had what they called like student doctors with him. He came in, he was like, oh, who can tell me what this baby has, what's the diagnosis? And they were like, oh, we don't know. And then doctor was like, oh, he's got ichthyosis and we don't know if he's going to survive. And then at that point, Mudassar looked at me like I remember him looking at me like, oh my God, like he's saying he's going to die. And I looked at Mudassar and I said, he doesn't know.
I knew Haren had a family member that had ichthyosis, and at that point I didn't understand what ichthyosis was. I just remembered that there was a child or a cousin actually, or two cousins in fact, that had a skin condition.
Well, I've got ichthyosis in my family. So my first cousins have ichthyosis. So I've got a cousin who's, I think, almost 50 now, and she's got ichthyosis. And my other cousin, I think we're closer in age, we're in our 30s, and he's got ichthyosis. But growing up, you don't really I never really noticed it. We just grew up around them. We didn't take notice of it. So it was like a normal thing for us. I would say it took about 2 weeks for me to actually slowly come out of the postnatal depression. I would come home, lock myself away. I couldn't even go into the nursery that I'd made for Ibrahim because he wasn't with me. So it was like a sense of loss for me. And then slowly I started going to the hospital to visit him, and kind of made me feel so good. And one thing, I always wanted to when you have a plan, I always wanted to breastfeed. And as soon as I went into the neonatal and I was able to hold him and put him next to me, I felt like there was an instant bond there, like the bond that I'd missed, where I thought I'd lost him. And I got that, and I remember just holding him, and he was feeding, and we just both fell asleep, and it was that bond that I was looking for that I got. And it was the most amazing feeling. And then on, I was always at the hospital calling up, making sure he was okay. And on top of the nurses to make sure that when I could bring him home. And it was just amazing from then on, yeah.
There was no understanding about the skin condition. I didn't even understand the genetics that go behind the skin condition. It was only really until he was born and the consultants then really engaged with us at a very high level. I mean, they weren't very detailed. I mean, the reality is that their role was there to console us and give us the reassurance that things will be all right.
I started doing my own research as well, typing in and kind of understanding what Ibrahim needed in terms of care. I was lucky because I had I still have such a supportive family. They were amazing. My mum, my dad, my sisters. My younger sister used to come to the hospital with me. She had the chance to go on holiday with my sister and her friend. She missed out on that just to stay with me. And we used to get on the train and go visit Ibrahim, and it was just so nice. And I think that kind of brought a bond between us as well, because that was such a special experience for me as well.
Leaning on Haren's family, especially Haren's mum, who was integral in terms of providing her the support, her the guidance, and really preparing us to what was to come, because I guess she had the experience through her niece and nephews actually, and having had the exposure to ichthyosis and having known how to, at least to an extent, manage and support her brother who had a child with ichthyosis and her sister who also had the child with ichthyosis. I guess she was our support arm at that time. So for the first year, it was very much, let's get through this.
After Ibrahim came home from hospital, I went straight to my mum's house. I stayed there for 4 months, I remember, and my mum helped me to bath him, cream him. It was like, and then my nieces used to come round, and they used to kind of get involved with his routine, and it used to make me feel like, okay, like I can do this, like, you know, and I know like I've got so much support behind me.
The whole piece around genetics really came about once we were introduced to Great Ormond Street, and Dr. Martinez was our consultant, and I remember the time when we actually met her for the very first time at the hospital, and then she sketched out how the genes and the TGM gene actually applied to this skin condition, and how the fact that we were both carriers, and as a result of that, you know, resulted in Ibrahim being born with this skin condition, ichthyosis.
And they were like, is this your first baby? And I was like, yeah. And then I think they used to be like, okay, it's fine. It's their first baby, so they're in and out of hospital. But just to know that reassurance that he's okay, that his temperature will go up because he doesn't sweat, because those sweat glands are blocked, that was something that we were learning as well along the way. So as we were learning, and he was like, we were just adapting to understanding how to bring him, how to help him and bring him up, but also be like natural and normal, like, because it is like, you know, it is our baby, and you know, you just want to like be a family. Like, he is normal to us, he was everything. We were so grateful. We were like, you know, we have our baby, there's nothing wrong with him. Like, in the world there's so many children that have other things wrong with them, and you know, everyone just adapts, and we have to adapt. And that was amazing for us.
Once you have a child with ichthyosis, there is this concern and nervousness about future children that you may want to have. And I guess we were in two minds, you know, do we want another child? You know, should we even consider having a second child? But again, Great Ormond Street were great. They gave us guidance, and they offered us the ability to verify whether the genes were present within Haren during pregnancy, and that gave us that kind of reassurance. Okay, you know, at least we can test that. Should there be traces of ichthyosis in the next child, we can be more prepared. And that was very much it. There was no decision, or there was no thoughts around, you know, termination in any shape or form. It was more about understanding and being prepared, really, because just like anything, if you're prepared, you know, you'll be far more equipped and able to support that child. And at the end of the day, as parents, our duty is to support and bring up the child, right? And regardless of the skin condition that Ibrahim has. Collectively, me and Haren, and we're on Google, naturally searching away, and you know, we came across the Ichthyosis Support Group. And I guess at that time, Ibi was 1 year old, and I remember Haren speaking to Maggie and starting conversations around, you know, the experience, and also learn a bit more about the charity and the support that we could probably get from the charity. And you know, I guess there was no quibbles or questions. We just jumped to it, and you know, we were really excited to attend the Newcastle event and meet the other families and the trustees. The material that was on the website was so important to us, because the flyer that I got from Great Ormond Street didn't really help me. I mean, it was great to an extent to say, right, you know, Ibrahim has ichthyosis, but that was about it. But the Ichthyosis Support Group had a website that provided a lot of material, provided a lot of guidance. You know, the following year conference, which was actually scheduled to be in Newcastle, was the time for us to really, you know, get out there and bring Ibrahim to that conference, and also meet families and meet the support group that we engaged with. And I remember when I was at the Newcastle event that, you know, I stood beside Paul and I looked at the way he was presenting and showcasing, you know, the skin condition. And when I mean showcasing, it's, you know, providing that support to the community around and all the families that are around the conference room, that this skin condition is there. Yes, we understand that, but we are here also to help you get through this as well. And I think the fact that when Haren spoke to Maggie and Maggie provided that support, the reassurance, and, you know, the additional kind of guidance that perhaps as parents we couldn't have found anywhere else, that for me was something that I wanted to give back, because I know that there are families out there that when they have a child for the first time, they'll be in a position, they'll be in limbo trying to work out what they do. And also being part of a charity that is spreading awareness across the UK and the globe to provide guidance and support to those families out there that also are oblivious to the skin condition. So for me, having that mindset and being part of a charity where I can provide my guidance, my support, not just to the charity but also to families, was something that I was really eager to do. And for me, the Newcastle event, having been the first event that I attended, and I approached Paul immediately at the end and I said to Paul, I would like to be part of this charity. And with open arms he said, yeah, let's get you involved. You know, I must say Ibi has come a long way. You know, he's 11 years old, and, you know, when you look at the first picture when he was born to where he is now, you know, you would never anticipate that is Ibrahim. Yeah, firstly, you know, he is managing his skin tremendously well. I'm really proud that he's finally begun his own routine. Naturally, as parents, you know, we do oversee, you know, the children, and Ibrahim, I've been very protective about over the years, but I've actually this year let go slightly more, and I've said to him, look, over to you, Ibrahim. You know, you can, you know, manage your own skin condition very well.
So that's why I recommend keeping Haren with a like those small tubs. That's from my experience.
I mean, apart from the odd bribes in terms of the baths, you know, he's getting used to those as well. He's learning to exfoliate more. So he's developed tremendously over the years. And for Ibrahim, you know, to get to this stage from where he was, I'm extremely proud. Now, in addition to that, you know, if you look at it from a external perspective, you know, he's out there, he's bubbly, he's interacting with his friends. He's a bit of a chat box. He loves school, and you know, over the years, I remember when me and Haren actually put him into, you know, tuition classes, and the reason was not for the education at that point. It was for us to get him sitting amongst other students and children outside of his, you know, norm, which was his school, and get him more out there. And by doing that, he became more confident.
Every Sundays, him and his brother go jiu-jitsu. It's like a martial arts, but it's more for like confidence. When we spoke to the instructor, he was like, karate is more self-defense, whereas jiu-jitsu is more calming, and it is in a way self-defense, but in like the form of art. So they express themselves through like the body and movement, and it's good for him. I think like it's brought a lot of confidence in him, and he's moving up through the stages, so that's good as well. What else does he enjoy? He enjoys TV. When you can't find Ibrahim around the house, you know he's either in front of the TV, the laptop, or his tablet. But yeah, generally he's happy boy, enjoys most things. Yeah.
He loves education. He loves maths. He's very forward thinking as well when it comes to these topics and subjects, and he likes a bit of a challenge. And you know, over the years we've seen him develop, and for us, we couldn't be any prouder. You know, he's taken other skills as well. You know, he loves swimming. He does that every Saturdays.
Checkmate.
And now he's got older, he understands himself. So if he's playing outside at school or even at home with his cousins, if he starts itching or getting hot, he knows, right, I need time to sit out and just take a little breather or sit in front of the fan, and he's fine. But yeah, there's not been any limits to what we've not really stopped him either. Like, I do want him to experience everything and anything he wants that he's comfortable with as well. Yeah.
He loves football. I mean, he's a Liverpool fan. I don't understand where that's come from, but you know, he loves watching football and he loves playing football. And what's amazing now, he knows when to stop. When it comes to playing sports, you know, there's us worrying about, you know, him in the heat or when he's overheating. He knows how to manage that now. You know, we don't need to worry. He's at that stage where he can step away. You know, so for us, we couldn't be any prouder, because you know, there's us thinking, you know, when is he going to learn these skills? You know, he's adapting himself and he's become such a strong person. And you know, for us, we just hope that continues in the years ahead, and we'll always continue supporting him regardless. I'll still keep a close eye on him, but I want to make sure that he's very independent, as he's begun to show.